All right, gents, what's going on? We're going to be going over the approach march load today. All right, so just start things off. This is my my personal pack. It is not the issued one, but it very much so emulates what's going on with the issued stuff. It just kind of fits my personal preferences a little bit more with the different frame and different main bag. But a lot of the same principles will remain the same. So this is a Crossfire Mark 7, resembles the issued Philby system. It allows me to carry everything on my main pack. It has a upgraded top flap for everything. So we're about to dig into this, explain to you guys what goes into the approach march load and the purpose of that loadout. The purpose of this loadout is for extended combat operations within a given AO. It's going to allow you to have up to 3 to 5 days of your own personal resupply to extend you in those combat environments. So think about you're doing a forced march. We're doing our 20-kilometer movement from an assembly area to a potential attack position. Once we're at the attack position, we move into our attack formations and we do the thing, right? This specific loadout is to be able to sustain us through those operations, all right? So again, approach march loadout, a lot of dudes, when they're doing their 20K, this is the exact loadout that they go off of. So now we're gonna dig into each individual component. Some of this has already been covered in our assault loadout video and our fighting loadout video. So we're not gonna expand upon every single item that's in this loadout. All right, so again, guys, you can find this loadout in the TNR manual, and it even says in there that this is not MOS specific, and it might exclude certain things that's specific to weapon systems. This is just the baseline loadout. And again, commanders, anybody can really add to this. We're just gonna show you the baseline just so you guys have a good idea of what it is. All right, guys, so the first couple of items we have here is kind of self-explanatory. You have your ballistic eye protection. We're rocking the clear ones with like a dummy cord on the back. It does say in here that you're supposed to be wearing your utility blouse, your trousers. It's basically a lot of these first initial items are just stuff that you're wearing to begin with. Like some guys wear a skivvy shirt, some guys don't. Undershorts, your boots, your socks, all that like generic stuff that you should be wearing on a daily basis anyway. So basically from eye pro to gloves are just kind of self-explanatory things. These gloves are just fire retardant made out of leather and Kevlar. Talked about them before in past videos if you want a little bit more detailed explanation on what type of gloves we use. All right, guys, the next few items, again, we touched on in past videos. We're just going to reiterate it again just to go along with the baseline of what's in this loadout. We have our ballistic helmet. It has a helmet cover on it. The nods mount has the ability to be camouflaged. Then our ear protection, the Peltor Comtech 5s. We have this is the Marine Corps issued plate carrier with just a bunch of further attachments on there to suit specific billets. Again, it's a Marine Corps issued plate carrier with the soft armor included. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the potential for 7 magazines just on this gear itself. And then just some administrative pouches and radio pouch for team leader specific duties. Hold that real quick. And then we got the gas mask. We've touched on this a bunch in past videos. Again, if y'all want detailed explanation, watch those videos and we'll go further into depth in those. The one thing I will say about the gas mask, guys, in the approach march loadout is depending on the MOP level, you might be wearing this on your hip or you might have it packed in your pack. Just totally depends on what your commander describes the MOP level to be in that moment. All right, guys, and again, with things specific to what you're wearing, you need to make sure that you have at least 3 magazine pouches that can accept 2 mags, so that's 6 total. Already kind of hit on that. You have at least 2 grenade pouches. I have one right here, and on my belt, I also keep another 2. So those are where my grenades come from. All right, the next thing we're gonna get to is IFAK. I like to run 2, so I have kind of like a Stop the Bleed kit right here. This is again the Roll IFAK from Pharaoh Concepts. Then also my fanny pack is another IFAK with like an E&E kit inside. Just the way I like to run it, I have 2 right there that are easily accessible from both arms. All right, and within the system, you can kind of see how it works for me and how I have it built around. I do keep my nods in here, padded pouch. We've hit it in a past video. In my assault pack, I do run the Shaw as my assault pack just because I fit a team leader billet. I'm not having to carry anything too crazy in it, so I get to run a smaller assault pack in size. I do keep a 3-liter bladder in here, and that's where my like days worth of water will come from if I need to detach from my main pack. All right, so the next thing we got is the E-tool itself and an MRE. Again, this is like sustainment for you when action's on the objective. You can detach your assault pack and go. So I do, while we're conducting the approach march, keep my e-tool in here. I can then take it out, throw it in my assault pack, and then carry on if I need to. All right, guys, so the next thing I have here is my extra clothing. I like to keep this in a Mac sack, kind of like towards the bottom of my main pack. It's just there, it's waterproofed. It has everything else I need in there. I typically only carry like 2 pairs of socks and just an extra pair of underwear just in case I need it. It also is starting to get cold out, so I'll probably throw in like a grid top and like a poly pro, one for daytime operations and then one for when I'm actually going to sleep. All right, guys, so the next thing I have is just my issued tarp. This is a really good piece of gear. Everyone should bring them with them because if you're not just covering your position, you could be potentially covering like ammo, anything like that. Another thing you can do to just expedite the process of using your tarp is just, I've attached some bungees onto the sides with a carabiner, allows me to just clip it in. I also bring some very light tent stakes to the field as well in case I need to stick this thing down. Now we're kind of getting to some hydration sustainment. All right, so for my hydration in my main pack, I like to run primarily like hard source hydration system. So I'll run a 2-quart canteen that gives me two 1-quart canteens, that's 3, 4, and then an Nalgene. On these canteens, I like to keep an NBC cap. That NBC cap gives me the ability to drink water in a CBurn environment. And then the Nalgene is specifically for like adding liquid IVs, any type of beverage powder to that specifically. So that's what I run in terms of water sources, and combine that with the Camelback. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 liters of water just in my force march load. Next item we got is going to be the isomat. So for my isomat specifically, I cut the issued one in half. When I turn it back in, I guess I'm going to have to buy another one. No big deal. They're only like 20 bucks. For me, it just saves a little bit of space. When you're actively sleeping in the field, the isomat is a necessity in a cold weather environment because all that heat's just going to go straight to the ground. But for me, the full isomat was just a little bit too bulky for how much I liked it. So I cut it in half. It does cover my head all the way down to like my rear. So it's a good piece of gear. Everyone should have it, especially in a cold weather environment. All right, so these next few items, again, these are like a personal choice for me, just from being in the infantry for a little while. I do have some slight preferences on what I sleep in and how I sleep. So these are 2 Snug Pack products. It's like their one-man tent and then their specific sleeping bag. I did find that the issued sleeping bag, just because it gets worn out and it's issued to several different people, it doesn't do the job as well as it's supposed to. So I bought my own. It definitely is the correct rating for what it says it is. And then the one-man tent. So I only set this up in a very permissive environment. And all it does is it just creates a little bit of space between me and the top of that one-man tent. It is a good system, but the issued stuff works fine in most cases. It's just this is a personal preference for me and how I operate. And again, you would only sleep in this type of system if you're in a mildly permissive environment. So if you're in a patrol base for a duration of time, there is a solid security and rest plan set. Those are really the only times you're going to be sleeping in this when you're actually conducting operations. The poncho liner, that's going to be your primary way of sleeping in some type of shelter when you're operating in like a fast-paced environment. So don't think just because we have this means that we're pulling these out to sleep in them. I mean, I don't think there's never, when we're doing like movement to contact style stuff, you're not going to be sleeping in a sleeping bag.
I was rarely ever wearing a sleeping bag all the way through, which is something to rest my eye.
All right, the next item is supposed to be a razor. I don't have that. I don't have a razor. That's kind of a whatever. I don't have a razor. I have some wipes though. I got some wipes to wipe my rear end, and then also some field shower wipes. Those are important, especially for maintaining hygiene and long duration operations. So wipes do have an importance. Being able to just clean your body after extensive operations is definitely a good idea. Enforcing hygiene was like one of the main responsibilities of NCOs to begin with. So the hygiene is important. You need to do it. You need to like clean those areas that do like see a lot of sweat. If you don't, it could just lead to excess chafing, which could, I mean, if you've ever chafed really bad and during long duration operations, it's not good to go. So being able to clean your body is an absolute necessity. In here I have kind of just like a boo-boo kit. It basically just takes care of things that like could prevent you from operating to your best capability in the field. So it just has things for like bites, stings, foot, chapstick when like you're in the desert for a long period of time, your lips are chapped. It's just kind of like a quality of life type of thing. Has things to repair my feet, like moleskin. I do just have an extra like first aid kit in here with like prep pads, some bandages, and the last thing is just a little bit of like over-the-counter medications. So just like ibuprofen and allergy relief. I have like the color of the pill, like what dosage is that of that pill is written on the bag itself. And again, that's just to get you, just kind of help you out a little bit. Like if you're going to be in the field for 7 days and you get stung by a bee the first day, like
The corpsman's not going to be on your ass, and if
Yeah.
you're doing actual shit, I mean, it'd be nice to have a corpsman with everybody, but
Yeah.
in each fire team or buddy team, but that's not what happens. So, I mean, something's going to happen. You need to remain in place. You can't go back for a boo-boo or some dumb shit. And if it's something that's going to make you more effective and keep you on target, then why not bring it? It
Yeah.
weighs nothing.
And it's a quality of life thing. You should. I preach to my guys that the corpsman is not there to take care of like your boo boo, take care of your bee sting. That's that's just grown man type stuff. You should be able to take care of like these types of injuries or like mild illnesses on your own in the field. So you should not be going over to the corpsman because your feet hurt. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right, and the last thing I'll hit on is according to the TNR, it does say that this loadout is supposed to weigh roughly 95 pounds, something like that. So just know that this is incorporated into your force march load, but this does not include ammo. So it's just strictly 95 pounds without ammo, which is kind of a big deal. Yeah, so to tie it into the assault loadout and the fighting loadout, again, fighting loadout is very fast-paced action on the objective. Maybe it's like something like you're doing a raid, something like that, where you're going to have just like 12 hours worth of sustainment on you, or you're just rolling around in the defense. You're just manning like a static position. That's what that fighting load is for. The assault loadout is we're doing a deliberate attack, like platoon attack, company attack. We want to be able to hold that objective, retain that terrain for up to 24 hours. And that assault load kind of spawns from the approach march load. Again, we mentioned the assault pack. That system should be able to detach from your main pack, and then you just go. You go straight into it. There's very minimal having to like take one thing out of a pouch and put another thing in there. Your main pack is strictly supporting those offensive operations that are fast-paced and could potentially be long duration.
Yep. And when you're doing your whole pack out and how you're strategically putting things together, you need to understand, like, as you've seen, it's like a tier system all the way down. You're starting out big and going to small. So putting things in the right places ahead of time, and you're not going to be sitting there just swapping shit out the entire time because you're like, oh, I put all my shit in the bottom inside my sleeping, whatever the fuck. You're gonna build everything out from top to bottom so that it makes sense. When you go to take one thing off, you go to put your assault pack on, you're ready to go. All your shit that you need's in there ready, and there's no fucking digging out of your main pack to put more shit. You have a couple things, sure, whatever, but we're talking about like big picture shit here. Everything's going to be tiered out all the way down, and that's the mindset behind it.
Yep. All right, so now we're going to get into how I pack my approach mart load specifically. So again, some of this is going to be personal preference. Some of this might be a good idea for you. Some of it might not be a good idea for some. So very first thing I have is my sleeping system. The way I like to do this is I have my sleeping bag already inside my bivy sack. That way I can just take it out and get right into it. So I have the sleeping bag in the bivy. Take it, put it in the side pouch. And another reason why I like this pack so much is this pouch itself is also waterproof. So my sleeping bag, it has the bivy sack on it already, and then this pouch being waterproof makes it where my sleeping bag is very unlikely to get wet itself. So I'll pack that in there. Separately, I'll pack my whoopee. That way I can just take it out quickly if I need it. There you go. Fold this over, cinch it down. That's my sleeping system. Next thing I'll do is throw my isomat on. Cinch it down, it's good to go. Now what this does gives me a good platform to be able to pack the rest of my pack. So from here, I'll put my 2-quart canteen in the side. It's kind of a tight fit, but it just ensures that it's not going to fall out. Cool, it's in there pretty snug. Next thing I'll do is I'll attach my other canteen to the side. Nice thing about the canteens as opposed to Nalgene's is that they're kind of concave. So it means when it's in this slide through pouch, it sits really nicely up against the main bag. So I'll just take a D-clip, clip this in. That's one. And that's two. Cool. Canteen's good. Take my Nalgene. Throw it in here. This pouch is a little oversized, but what that allows is I can throw like liquid IVs, those carbohydrate beverage powder things in the side of this, and it allows me to just have the same access to the same things in the same pouch. Put that in, it's good to go. All right, so now I have sleeping water. Now I'm just gonna add my MREs. These aren't gonna be field stripped, but you can field strip them and you can fit double the amount of MREs in these sustainment pouches as you would be if they were not field stripped. And the nice thing about these pouches on the Crossfire, these front two are sewn in because I prefer to live out the outside of my pack already. And they cinch down and they clip. So it's got like double the amount of retention. And these side pouches that come with it, there's like this mesh on the top, which is really nice to put like 5-hour energies in, anything like that. And again, they cinch down. They're also made out of really nice material. It's pretty sturdy stuff. Cool. All right, so that's shelter, water, and food all in my main bag. And right now it's already pretty heavy. I got a few more things to add to it. But those are like the bare essentials in terms of packing your main pack. I am gonna add a few more things that's not necessarily on the TNR manual, but it's just what I like to bring. So it's these building tools. So this Silky Boy saw allows me to just make some overhead cover out of like some saplings or anything like that. And my clippers allow me to be able to clip veg and put it on my Cobra hood. Now I just keep them in the side. I have a carabiner. I'll clip them in. And then just like the issued main pack, you do have like this pass through. That's typically where they go. Oop, and they stay really nice and secure right there. Cool. Next thing I'm gonna add is my e-tool. Again, this is also like building material. I primarily keep it on my main pack in the issued pouch. And then if I need to, and we're transitioning to our assault load, I'll take it out of the pouch and put it in my assault bag. Cool. All right, so that covers tools. Another portion that plays in my shelter is my tarp. I like to keep it in this pouch for very easy access. Again, that's a personal preference. There's nowhere specifically that everyone has to have their tarp. Cool, that's in there too. All right, so that really concludes everything I use on the outside of my bag. Now I'm gonna start putting stuff inside. So this is my field desk. As a team leader occupying prolonged observation positions, it's really nice in terms of being able to utilize tools and have access to like cheat sheets and some other things that are mission specific. And it just gives you a place to ride on because you're not gonna have a place to ride on in the field typically. So I keep this inside. Right here. The next thing I'll typically put in is some of my hygiene gear. On the inside of this bag, there's a nice mesh pouch, and that's where I'll put my hygiene gear at. Cool, so hygiene's in there. At the very bottom, I'll put my extra clothing in a mac sack. And that typically gives me a really good shelf to put my gas mask if I'm not wearing it on my hip due to the mop level. Cool, and then again, I prefer to live on the outside of my pack. A lot of dudes, they might prefer to live on the inside. It's just a personal preference. I like to keep very minimal things on the inside itself. So I'll zip the main pouch up. Cinch this down. Cool, and I just have a few more leader style tools that I put in this top flap right here. It's just a tactile handbook for unit leaders and a small terrain model kit. I'll keep that in the top. And now what this does is it kind of allows like a shelf for me to be able to put my assault pack. Again, this is the way I personally set it up. The issued main bag and the issued assault pack, there's a system in place to be able to clip the assault pack to the top. I just prefer to run mine underneath the top lid of my main pack. And the camelback bladder in here, I can typically pull this hose out and access it while I'm actually wearing the whole ruck. So I'll put this down. First, I'll loosen up the top flap. Cool. And then this top flap right here, this pouch is really good for if you have any cold weather gear you want to throw in there, like gloves. I typically put claymores in the top of this when I'm in training, and it's just a really quick access, easy pouch. I can access this hose on the back. And the way I personally wear my belt with this system, I'll show you real quick. I will take my belt, wrap it around this top pouch. I'll take a bungee that I have wrapped around my frame, throw it over the belt. Cool. And then what that allows me to do is this bungee will keep the main bag compressed, keep my belt on the pack, and then I can wear this ruck with my belt quickly accessible, my nods quickly accessible, my pistol, anything I'm running on the belt, I can just set my pack down and take it right off. And yeah, that's basically how I pack my pack. I can access everything.